Welcome back to our channel, World Coins History. As you knew that old is gold, but these rare Lincoln penny coins that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1. Today, we are diving into one of the most talked about coins of modern times, the 2009 Lincoln penny from the Formative Years series. This little 1-cent coin, struck to celebrate Abraham Lincoln's 200th birthday, might look ordinary at first, but wait until you hear how rare and valuable some of these can be. The United States Mint released 4 special designs in 2009, each one showing a different stage of Lincoln's life. The Formative Years design is the second in the series, and it shows a young Lincoln sitting on a log, holding a book in his hand with one arm resting on a split rail. It represents his childhood years in Indiana, where he taught himself by reading under candlelight after long days of hard work. The design itself tells a story of determination, hard work, and the dream of a better life, and collectors absolutely love the symbolism behind it. Now, you might be thinking, since millions of these pennies were minted, why are they considered special? The truth is, not all coins are created equal. While most of these pennies ended up in pocket change and everyday circulation, a small percentage struck with errors or kept in pristine condition have become treasures for collectors. One of the most exciting parts of the 2009 Formative Years penny is the errors. Some of these coins were struck with extra fingers on Lincoln's hands, creating what collectors call the extra thumb or double thumb varieties. Imagine finding a penny where Lincoln seems to have an extra finger carved into the metal. That small difference can turn a common coin into a highly sought-after rarity. There are even versions where the detail of the thumb looks doubled or misaligned, and those can be worth a surprising amount of money. Another factor that makes this coin collectible is condition. A penny fresh from the mint, with sharp details and no scratches, is worth far more than a worn example pulled from circulation. Collectors hunt for coins graded in the highest conditions, and they pay incredible premiums for them. Mint set versions and special strikes are even more desirable, since they often show crisper designs and shinier surfaces. The beauty of the 2009 Lincoln penny is that it connects history with modern collecting. It celebrates one of the most beloved presidents, it tells the story of his youth and learning years, and it offers coin enthusiasts the thrill of chasing down varieties and rare conditions. It's a coin that beginners can find in change and experts can still get excited about when a rare error surfaces. And now, let's talk about value. A 2009 Lincoln Formative Years penny pulled from circulation is usually worth just face value, but in high grades, or with the rare doubled thumb varieties, the story changes dramatically. At auctions, some of these coins have sold for hundreds, and in exceptional cases even into the thousands, depending on the condition and rarity. In plain words, a penny that cost just 1 cent to make has been sold for well over $2,000. So next time you come across one of these 2009 Lincoln pennies, take a close look at Lincoln's hands, check the details, and don't dismiss it as just another cent. You might be holding a little piece of history that's also a hidden treasure. Top 2. We are exploring one of the most memorable coins released in modern U.S. history, the 2009 Lincoln penny from the Birth and Early Childhood series. This little coin may seem like just another cent at first glance, but when you look closer, you realize it carries an incredible story, beautiful symbolism, and in some cases, it can even be worth a surprising amount of money. In 2009, the United States Mint honored the 200th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth by creating 4 unique designs, each one highlighting a different stage of his life. The very first design in this series shows the humble beginnings of Lincoln's childhood. On this coin, you can see a log cabin in the background, representing the tiny home in Kentucky where he was born in 1809. The image tells the story of his early struggles, his family's simple life, and the roots of a man who would later become one of the most influential presidents in American history. The Birth and Early Childhood design immediately caught the attention of collectors, not only for its beauty but also because it symbolizes the start of Lincoln's incredible journey. Millions of these coins were released into circulation, but as every coin collector knows, not all pennies are created equal. Some are common, while others hide rare details and errors that can make them extremely valuable. One of the most fascinating aspects of this coin is the variety of mint errors that appeared during production. There are examples of double dies where parts of the design, especially the lettering or the log cabin details, appear slightly doubled under magnification. These small mistakes create huge excitement among collectors, because each one is unique and much rarer than a normal strike. Other errors include off-center strikes, where part of the design is shifted noticeably from the center of the coin, leaving blank areas of the surface. Some coins even show die cracks or extra metal raised across the coin's surface, giving them an unusual look that makes them stand out immediately. Collectors love these oddities because they are like one-of-a-kind fingerprints from the minting process. Condition also plays a massive role in value. The 2009 birth and early childhood pennies found in pocket change are often scratched, worn, or dull, which keeps their value at just 1 cent. But coins that were saved right away, carefully stored, and remain in pristine uncirculated condition can bring a much higher price. Graded examples in top condition, with no flaws and sharp detail, are the ones that attract the attention of serious collectors. This penny also carries strong sentimental value. It connects us to Lincoln's story, reminding us of his modest beginnings and his rise to greatness. For many collectors, owning this coin isn't just about the money, it's about holding a little piece of history that reflects American determination and growth. It's a coin that both beginners and advanced collectors can enjoy searching for, because hidden among ordinary pocket change might be one of these rare treasures. And now the part you've been waiting for, the value. While most 2009 Lincoln birth and early childhood pennies are still worth face value, the rare error coins and the high-grade examples have sold for much more. Some of the double die varieties and pristine graded pieces have been auctioned for hundreds, and in certain cases, even more than $1,000. In plain words, a penny that cost just 1 cent to make has brought over $1,000 at auction. So the next time you see a 2009 Lincoln penny with that little Kentucky log cabin on the back, don't pass it by. Check the details carefully, look for doubling, unusual marks, or sharp mint condition. You might be holding onto a tiny treasure that tells a big story. Top 3, we are stepping back into the world of classic copper pennies with the 1980 Lincoln cent, a coin that may look simple and ordinary, yet holds secrets that collectors find absolutely thrilling. Whether you've just started collecting or have been searching coins for years, the 1980 penny is one that deserves a closer look, because in the right condition or with the right error, it can be worth much more than just 1 cent. The year 1980 was an interesting time for American coinage. The Lincoln cent had already been circulating for more than 70 years, first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. By 1980, the familiar design of Lincoln's profile on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse had already become an iconic part of everyday pocket change. Billions of these pennies were minted, and because of that, most people assume they are all common. But as collectors know, rarity isn't always about how many coins were made, but rather about how many survived in the right condition or with rare mistakes. The 1980 Lincoln penny was struck in copper, weighing just over 3 grams, and that makes it part of the final era before the big composition change in 1982 when the mint switched to copper-plated zinc. That copper composition alone adds an extra layer of appeal to collectors who treasure the heavier, older cents. Now, what really makes the 1980 penny exciting are the varieties and errors that slipped through the mint's presses. Some of the most famous and sought after are doubled dies. Imagine looking at the date or the lettering and noticing a clear doubling effect, almost like a shadow image. Those doubled die obverse or reverses instantly make a coin stand out, and they are always in high demand. Another group of errors includes off-center strikes. These happen when the coin is not properly aligned during minting, leaving part of the design missing and part of the blank planchet exposed. The more dramatic the off-center, the more valuable the coin can be, especially if the date is still visible. There are also examples of die cracks, cuds, and other striking flaws that create unique patterns collectors love. Each error tells its own story about what went wrong inside the mint. Condition is another critical factor. Most 1980 pennies you find today in circulation will be worn, dull, and scratched, worth only their face value. But if you come across one that has been saved in pristine uncirculated condition, with sharp details and brilliant luster, that coin can command a strong premium. Collectors often send these coins to grading services, and those top-graded examples are the ones that bring serious bids at auction. For coin lovers, the 1980 penny is more than just small change, it's a bridge between two important eras of the Lincoln cent series. It represents the last years of the pure copper cents before the switch to zinc, and it shows how even in a year when billions were minted, unique treasures can still emerge. Searching through rolls, bags, or even jars of old change could turn up one of these valuable finds, and now, the part you've been waiting for, the value. While most 1980 Lincoln pennies are only worth 1 cent, some of the high-grade examples and dramatic errors have sold for much more. In real auctions, collectors have paid hundreds, and in certain rare cases, even over $1,000 for the finest or most unique pieces. In plain words, a simple 1-cent coin from 1980 has been sold for more than $1,000. So before you dismiss that old penny in your change, take another look. Check the details, examine the date, and look for unusual features. You just might be holding a hidden treasure that connects history, rarity, and value in one tiny coin. Top 4. We're traveling back in time to the late 1970s to talk about a coin that millions of people still see as ordinary pocket change, but collectors know can sometimes hold surprising value. We're focusing on the United States Lincoln penny from 1979, a little 1-cent coin that hides more stories, errors, and rare finds than most people realize. So if you've got some of these lying around, you'll want to listen carefully, because this is one coin that might be worth far more than its face value. The 1979 Lincoln penny comes from an important era in American coinage. By this time, the Lincoln Memorial reverse had already been used for 2 decades, showing that tiny statue of Lincoln sitting inside the memorial. On the obverse, of course, we still see Victor David Brenner's iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, a design that has been loved by collectors since it first appeared in 1909. The 1979 penny was struck in copper, weighing over 3 grams, making it part of the final stretch before the U.S. Mint changed to copper-plated zinc in 1982. For collectors, that classic copper composition always feels special, heavier in the hand, and more traditional. Now let's get into what makes this year so interesting. The United States Mint produced billions of these pennies in 1979 across Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. With such a high mintage, it's easy to assume they're all common, but that's where rarity, condition, and minting errors come in. One of the most fascinating aspects of the 1979 penny is the proof coin struck in San Francisco. That year, 2 distinct types of mint marks were produced. Collectors call them the Type 1 and Type 2S mint marks. The Type 1 shows a blurry, filled-looking S, while the Type 2 has a sharper, clearer S. The Type 2 variety is scarcer and much more valuable, especially in pristine condition. Proof collectors spend years hunting for the best examples, and these differences can mean the world in terms of price, but it doesn't stop there. The 1979 Lincoln cent also has its share of dramatic errors. Off-center strikes are highly collectible, where part of the design is missing because the blank was misaligned. Double dies can also be found, where lettering, numbers, or parts of Lincoln's portrait appear doubled. Even smaller details, like die cracks or cuds, can make a coin stand out, because they turn an ordinary penny into a unique one-of-a-kind piece. Collectors always love error coins, since no two are exactly alike. Condition plays a huge role too. Most 1979 pennies you find in circulation today will be worn and dull, worth just a cent. But examples that were saved straight from the mint, shiny and sharp, can bring strong premiums. The higher the grade, the more attention they get from serious collectors. Coins graded in the very top condition can sell for far more than most people would ever expect from a common penny. What makes the 1979 penny so attractive for collectors is that it's not just about nostalgia or copper composition, it's about the thrill of discovery. You could check a handful of coins and find nothing, but then suddenly spot an off-center error, or realize you're holding a rare proof Type 2 mint mark. That element of chance is what keeps coin collecting exciting, and the 1979 penny is a perfect example of how history and rarity can hide in plain sight. And now for the part you've been waiting for, the value. While most 1979 pennies are still just worth a cent, the rare varieties and high-grade examples have sold for much more. Some proof coins with the scarce Type 2s mint mark have brought hundreds, and certain errors and top-graded examples have sold for even higher. In plain words, a 1-cent coin from 1979 has been sold at auction for more than $1,000. So the next time you come across a 1979 penny, don't overlook it. Check the mint mark, check the condition, and look closely for errors. You might be holding a small piece of copper that could be worth a collector's fortune. If you enjoyed this dive into the story of the 1979 Lincoln penny, make sure to like the video, subscribe for more, and share it with fellow coin lovers. Thanks for joining me today, and as always, happy collecting. Top 5, and last penny, we're shining the spotlight on a coin that many people pass over every single day without a second thought, yet coin collectors know it has secrets worth discovering. We're talking about the United States Lincoln penny from 1994, a coin that may look completely ordinary at first, but with the right error or in the right condition, it can become surprisingly valuable. If you've got a handful of change sitting around, you'll definitely want to check those pennies carefully after this. The 1994 Lincoln penny comes from the long-running Memorial Reverse series, which had been in place since 1959. On the obverse, you'll find Victor David Brenner's famous portrait of Abraham Lincoln, a design that has lasted more than a century, making it one of the most iconic images in all of American coinage. On the reverse, of course, sits the Lincoln Memorial, with a tiny statue of Lincoln visible inside if you look closely. Billions of these pennies rolled out of the mints in Philadelphia and Denver in 1994, and because of that, most people think of them as common, everyday cents. But as collectors know, the story is much deeper. What makes the 1994 penny so interesting is the potential for varieties and errors. When a coin is struck in such high numbers, mistakes are bound to slip through, and those are the coins collectors dream of finding. Some of the most fascinating 1994 errors are doubled dies. On certain coins, you can see doubling in the lettering, the date, or parts of the design. Under magnification, these double details jump out, and they can turn a regular penny into a coin worth keeping. Another group of errors includes off-center strikes, where the design is shifted and part of the blank planchet is left exposed. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the more valuable the coin becomes, especially if the date is still visible. There are also examples of die cracks, cuds, and clipped planchets, all of which create unusual features that collectors love. Each error tells a little story about what went wrong during the minting process, and those stories are what make these coins so exciting to own. Condition is another huge factor when it comes to value. The majority of 1994 pennies you'll see today have been through years of circulation, showing scratches, dull surfaces, and plenty of wear. These are worth only their face value. But coins that were saved early on, especially those in pristine, uncirculated condition, can fetch much higher prices. Collectors seek out the sharpest, cleanest examples with brilliant red color, and they are willing to pay a premium for them. Coins graded at the very top levels by professional grading services are especially desirable, because so few have survived in flawless condition. For coin lovers, the 1994 Lincoln penny is more than just small change. It's a piece of American history, part of a beloved series, and a chance to uncover something special hidden in plain sight. It's also a reminder that even coins made in the billions can become valuable when they carry unique traits or survive in perfect shape. Searching rolls, jars, and pocket change can still reveal these treasures, and that thrill of discovery is what makes collecting so addictive. And now, let's talk about value. While most 1994 pennies remain worth just a cent, certain examples tell a very different story. High-grade coins in brilliant red uncirculated condition have sold for strong prices, and dramatic error varieties have commanded serious attention at auction. In real-world sales, collectors have paid hundreds, and in some rare cases, even more than $1,000 for the finest and rarest 1994 pennies. In plain words, a 1-cent coin from 1994 has been sold at auction for over $1,000. So the next time you see a 1994 penny, don't just toss it aside. Take a closer look, check for errors, and pay attention to its condition. You never know if you're holding a hidden gem that could add something truly special to your collection. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with fellow collectors. Thanks for joining me today, and as always, happy hunting and happy collecting.